All right, welcome to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And it's official. The first commercials in the early adopter states, the early voting states, have dropped on behalf of one Andrew Yang. We're going to take a look at them and ask some questions and give some analysis about their efficacy and how good we think they are. But before we can, we got to see them. So, Cody, tell us what's going on.
Well, earlier today on Twitter, a couple hours ago, Andrew Yang tweeted out what they said is their one of the first early state ads they're going to be running. We'll talk in a minute about where they're actually going to be running at and some more things like that. However, here is, without further ado, the ad in and of itself. So, give me 1 second.
That we are not the first presidential campaign or family that have had special needs or autistic children. For whatever reason, I think we may be the first to talk about it openly.
If you have a child with special needs, it's expensive. If you don't have access to good health care, families literally have nothing.
We need to move towards a Medicare for All system where every American has access to quality and affordable services and start supporting families in a real way. I'm sure that we are not...
Okay, so there we go. Not a very long ad, not a 30-second ad. And so first of all, initial impressions. Cardin, you first. I'm going to get back to me.
Are you sure you want me to go first? I think it's better if you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Initial impressions. Let's see. On the nice end, I thought it looks clean and professional. I like that. I thought it was a little bit
utter bullshit.
No, not like that. I just thought it was. Maybe obviously, I'm sure they have better data than I do on where they're running it. I just thought it was an interesting subject matter for the first ad. It didn't really come across as. I don't know how to explain it. Fine, I'll just say it didn't come across necessarily. If I did not know Andrew Yang was running for president and I saw that ad, I'd be like, "Oh, it's a presidential campaign ad." It just felt very small scale. It was very much like the family small scale.
Yes, it did surprise me how this was not an out of the gates massive. Boom! I'm Andrew Yang and I'm here to party. Hear me roar. No, very demure.
It wasn't one of those, to tell the story. We have to go back to the formation of Earth kind of ads where it's like dinosaurs walking around. Like,
where there's slow motion as he's getting ready to walk onto the stage.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But there's various degrees. It also wasn't. We took a look. It leads me to a couple other things to talk about in a minute. But overall, like I said, I just thought the way it was set up and shot was very small scale. It was very much family. Felt to me more kind of like what you'd run when you're running for Congress or Senate. Like probably actually more like when you're running for like an assembly or something very local, very like home based. I thought that. Overall, again, I thought it was interesting. It's neat, but I thought it was really interesting that Andrew Yang. We're going to talk in a minute about the states, but Iowa is one of the states this is confirmed running in, one of the early states. And if you're, I don't know, maybe the frame divot doesn't play in Iowa. It just feels weird. Medicare for All feels like a weird thing to run his first add-on, just because.
I don't think it's weird.
No, but for the most part, every Democrat running in the primary is for some form of Medicare for All. So you think you talk about freedom dividend, UBI,
but that's
automation,
what
jobs.
Highest.
I guess, but it just maybe the data proves me wrong. It just feels really weird to me. It's like here's this first ad they're rolling out, and it's not about anything unique to Yang. It's such a unique candidate. And they're running like Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, just pick a candidate. They're for some form of Medicare for All. They have slight disagreements. We've seen the debate stage about how they want to implement it, but they're all for generally. I think my man John Delaney is one of the few not for Medicare for All.
My man!
But everyone else is. So you think, why wouldn't Andrew Yang come out with something a little bit more, hey, look, Iowa, vote for me in the primary because, hey, look, Nevada, hey, look, all these early voting states, vote for me in the primary because I'm offering something new, not because I also want Medicare for All. Yeah. I thought that was a little weird. That was just kind of my first impression.
Could you, could you just really quickly read off the questions you asked the Yang campaign today? Because we haven't been able to find any real written articles or coverage on these early state, I don't want to call them commercials, but spots that have ran.
Ads.
Yeah, ads that have ran. And we couldn't even figure out exactly who made them, if it was the new guy, if it was an in-house thing, so on and so forth. A couple of days ago, we actually made a video that was talking about how Andrew Yang had snagged the ad firm that had given Bernie Sanders so much success in 2016, as Bernie had decided to take some questions in-house. So before I spout my opinions about the content of the ad, I think it'd be really interesting if our viewers could see some of the questions that you had actually asked the Yang campaign directly. Could you pull that up by chance?
I don't have that up right now, but we just.
What'd you ask them?
Well, just a couple things we're waiting to hear back from. I kind of want to know about one, and like I said, were these ads made before or after they acquired this new ad firm? See if we can throw it up for this guy. This article is written, look at the 23rd of this month, a few weeks ago. Andrew Yang snaps up the old Bernie Sanders crew. I was wondering if they made it. Exactly what states was running in. Like I said, I'll show you guys in a second.
And
Confirmed.
he also said, why did they choose that message?
Yeah, we're just minimal questions, looking for more info. We'll let you guys know if we hear back from them or anything like that. Right now, we're just reaching out for comment. But that was the next thing I want to talk about was I do wonder who's behind it. I do wonder if it was this very same ad firm or not. Looking at some of their prior work with Bernie was larger scale. Maybe that's a conscious effort for the campaign. They want to go smaller scale. Maybe it works in the states they think. Because, well, before I move on too far, I want to talk about where he's running it and maybe that playing into the method. Just anything else you wanted to say? Just initial reactions to the ad itself. Like I said, thought it was put together very well. It didn't strike me as a presidential ad. My two reactions.
My initial reaction was this. Very professional. It was put together by somebody who knew what they were doing. Okay, great. Second impression. Evelyn's beautiful. He's got to freaking use Evelyn a whole lot more because just like they say in Moneyball, you know, before they had all the data to figure out who was good in AAA ball and stuff like that, they look at their girlfriends and they think that was the measure of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Evelyn's gorgeous. It looks like she's killing it in the home. I mean, it's if you can convince the prettiest girl in the room to vote for you by marrying you, that's kind of like an informal poll that tells the rest of us around here, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. All right. And, third thing, though, was I was a little bit disappointed. Andrew Yang's candidacy is so different. And it seems to me, I'm not sure, but it seems to me that just like all the other campaigns, there's some staffer in charge of media and messaging who's got some resume and a poli-sci degree who walks in and says, well, the past 7 polls have showed that that health coverage and education and jobs are the 3 highest polling questions that Americans have. And so your messaging really needs to focus on healthcare. And they basically just take whatever the idea that is on top of the poll is and then craft a message that they think will resonate with voters. And this always yields the driest, most boring, and oftentimes intellectually dishonest political ads that give politicians bad names. And one of the things I immediately bristled at on this video was, okay, that's great. I know it's difficult to raise children with special needs. I'm extremely sensitive to the families that have special needs. I have a special education daughter who had cancer. It took away 49% of her vision and some of her hearing. So my daughter has an IEP, an individualized education program. I'm very well of the expense and the hard work that is required to raise special needs children. My mother is a special ed teacher of 28, 30 years experience. She just barely retired from the California Special Education Department of our school district. And I grew up volunteering with all the autistic kids, with a lot of the Down syndrome kids, with a lot of the kids that, were taken out of mainstream education in order to be put into special education. I'm very sensitive to a lot of this stuff. And I know that Medicare doesn't cover these people. I'm sorry. Medicare for all. There's no stipulations in Medicare. There's some parts of Medicaid that allow states as administered through their systems, such as California's Medi-Cal, to give some funds for families that have some autism or have some Down syndrome for ABA, which is like associated behavioral analysis or something like that. I can't remember what the exact terminology is, but to all this, to me, this was just a very odd promise, an odd thing to start out with. It didn't represent the rock star that Andrew Yang is, but also B, I don't recall in any of our diving into his Medicare for All program any real large emphasis on kids with special needs or any guaranteed new programs or anything like that. And it seems a little bit like wishful thinking almost, that just if we magically have just Medicare for all and we just pass a law that says there must be Medicare for all that makes kids' lives better, focused on families, as if all of a sudden that will exist. Okay, well, who's going to administer it? Where's the money coming from? Who's authorized and educated well enough to even run a bureaucracy that large?
entirely separate discussion on his Medicare for
Sure,
All plan, which we
fine,
can do another
but-
video on his Medicare for All plan. There's actually been a lot of talk recently in the news of Medicare for All plan.
I didn't get why he chose that.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
And it also seemed like it was so low on details that I was like, this doesn't seem like the substantive Yang that I'm used to. And honestly, I tell people he is.
I agree. I mean, would you agree? Like
That was like a Klobuchar commercial.
yeah. Well, would you agree? The one thing,
A Gillibrand
the one thing
commercial.
that stood out to me is if I did not know ahead of time Andrew Yang was running for president, I just saw the ad, vote for me. I'd be like, what's that guy running for? There wasn't, like I said, I think that's one of the, maybe we could just talk about the philosophy of campaign ads. I think when you focus so small scale on an ad like that, it kind of comes across like less like, what is this person running to change? Like, how, I mean, yeah, I would, like, it's something people like care about, Medicare for All, passionate, people at the home, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, Andrew Yang is a lot of things that separate him from the field. Why they chose a message early on in a state where, and we're going to take a look at something, because right now, as far as I know, we don't know, and like I said, just why they focus on a message that isn't very unique and really stands out about Yang and what
Yeah,
separates
that's
it
the
from the
perfect
field.
way of saying it. It was just like,
Why they didn't, like, because like I said, everyone who's running for president on the Democratic side agrees on some form of Medicare
is
for All. and
Inslee
they-
still in the race? I can't remember.
No,
he
nah,
bounced, right?
He dropped, yeah.
Who's somebody
The
else?
ferryman.
Yeah, okay, but Amy Klobuchar is still in the race.
Yeah, hanging
Julian
on.
Castro is still in the race.
Barely.
Technically, Beto O'Rourke's still in the race.
Proudly.
That literally could have been a Beto O'Rourke commercial.
It could have been anyone's ad. Well,
That could have been anybody's
well,
ad.
I would say the one unique thing about Yang, like you said, he's got a lovely family, and that is the thing about it. He does bring up a lot in his campaign. Is hey, look, I think when he brings up his family and how it relates to why he's running, though, the better way he integrates it is the sense that, like, look, my wife does work at home that's valuable. That currently has no market value. That's not right. Like, that's a better. I think something like that would make more sense than just kind of like, because yeah, like I want a Medicare for All that covers children with special needs, like autism. It's like, okay, cool. I'm sure most Democrats running want that too.
You just wrote a
What-
better commercial.
Why? But it's like, why should I vote for you? But here's the cool, not the cool thing, but here's the
Okay.
other layer of it. Like I said, right now I got no confirmation on exactly what states it's running in. I reached out, I'm back, but we'll see. We'll probably find out soon enough. The early states that people are focusing on, generally Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, and then Massachusetts a little bit. But generally speaking, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina. We see a lot of people in there. One of our followers, if not, whatever, just someone in the Yang Gang on Twitter, posted this earlier. We'll start really quick. This looks like David Jinsu Kim. Looks like, I don't know if he's in Iowa or someone sent this, but it looks like these Yang 2020 ads, they are running on YouTube in Iowa. That much we know for sure. Don't know if they're on TV anywhere yet, if they're just on YouTube. 30 seconds is pretty good for YouTube, so maybe they are just on YouTube, but confirmed running in Iowa on YouTube right now. So, again, where's he running these? Iowa. That's a state we're going to take a look at really quickly in the polling because...
Yeah, he needs all the help he can get there.
Yes. And you look at the aggregate numbers right here, and you'll notice he's buoyed really heavily by a recent 5% he hit an Emerson poll. Very good for him. That was from about 10 days ago, it looks like. But by and large, Iowa had been a state he had been really struggling in. You'll notice he still appears behind Tom Steyer in the state of Iowa. I mean, this has been a state he's really struggling in. So do you think that, and again, like I said, I'm not going to hate on the quality of the ad. I don't say question the message. I don't know what numbers they're operating off of. It seemed to me like there's things that separate Yang from the pack more they could have focused on. They didn't focus on.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But do you
There's
think?
things that
Do you
separate
think
him.
Do you think this moves him above Tom Steyer in Iowa? Do you think? Because remember, this is the money he was sitting on, and the other thing we're asking, was this that firm? Because we were saying, hey, if he gets this new ad firm that really helped Bernie Sanders do very well, and they really refine their message, and they really put some money into some ads, and they use these millions of dollars they've saved up. I mean, I was looking at the FEC filings. It looks like they have $5 million on hand. I believe that was before these ads had gone out, so maybe they've spent some of that $5 million on these ads. Like, is that going to help him move up past Tom Steyer in the polls in Iowa?
Now, I would be curious. First off, I'd want to know if we have any of the ladies watching right now. Let us know what you thought as women about this ad, and try and separate yourselves if you're already in the Yang Gang from your preconceived notions and adoration of Andrew Yang and his policies. But would this commercial have reached out to you? Because there's part of me that just thinks flop. Didn't like it. I hope this was just the first thing they were able to export out of Adobe Premiere. You know what I'm saying? And they're testing the Medicare for All message. Okay, there's part of me that hopes that.
Ouch.
Yeah, there's another part of me though. It's like, okay, I think it was really good to bring Evelyn in. And once again, this is just anecdotal evidence, but I can't tell you how many
cool
times.
angle. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, using the wife. That's a good point.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I mean, there's a reason why I have Brittany the Shadow in so many aspects of my life. I can't tell you how many times where I've met like high-ranking politicians for the first time because I'm involved in a campaign, or else I'm involved in a media issue or whatever, and they're like, "Who is this guy? Is he crazy?" And then they meet my wife, who's completely normal, and my 2 adorable kids, and they're like, "Oh, okay, so he must just be eccentric." Let me tell you guys. The only difference between being crazy and eccentric and not being taken seriously, okay, is just a lovely and articulate wife like Brittany the Shadow. A lovely and articulate wife like Evelyn, okay? I can't tell you how many deals have been made or deals have probably been saved because people have met my wife. And Andrew Yang is a very bro candidate. Okay, 70% according to a 3-month-old study by 538, okay, which I know is old data, but still doesn't seem to have changed too much, okay? But 70% of Andrew Yang's Yang Gang is male. It's predominantly male. So he needs to improve with women. He needs to improve with the African-American community, and he needs to improve in these early states. So my question is bringing her in to this commercial in this early state going to move the needle with any of those demographics he's struggling with? It's going to have to help out a little bit no matter what, just because he's on air and it's Iowa. With African Americans, does this make him more relatable? Does it make him more stand out? I'm not sure. I don't know what the answer is. And with women, does this make him more accessible? Does this make him more relatable? Does this pique your interest, wanting to know more about him? I don't see how just a Medicare for all slogan would pique your interest. That would sound like everybody else, in my opinion. But then again, I'm not a girl.
Well, and to reinforce that, I mean, good point again, that how does it help with any kind of certain demographic? Like Medicare for all is pretty across the board Democrat thing. I want to highlight this, kind of fact check us, I guess. We were wrong. Not literally every Democrat supports Medicare for all. Only the relevant ones do, except for Joe Biden. No flame, but
and the ones that want to win elections.
Exactly, but the
even Andrew Yang's walked back his Medicare for all.
Well, not that much. It's this campaign ad, but the candidates who don't support Medicare for all on some level, we got like Bennett, Joe Biden's the one big one, but then Bullock, my man Delaney, Beto O'Rourke surprisingly, and Amy Klobuchar. But the problem is Andrew Yang's first campaign, and again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about the ad. I'm not even going to talk about his actual Medicare for all policy. I don't want to talk about that in this video, but the bottom line is he ran a campaign ad that says, I agree mostly with
everybody else on stage.
Elizabeth Warren, Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala Harris, Tom Steyer, Sestak, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, Julian Castro, Cory Booker, Marianne Williamson, all these people. We all Medicare for all. It's great. Now, he has a different version of Medicare for all, and that's kind of thing. However, maybe the data they're saying in early states, people are really interested in who's got the best version of Medicare for all, and that's what they're voting for in the primary. If that's what they're operating off of, maybe. But there's just so much radical, unique stuff about the Yang campaign. Picking a platform that he's largely in agreement with basically everyone else except Joe Biden, who's a front runner, that was odd to me. That was a little bit odd.
Yeah, and here's a test for that. If you had to watch 5 different 5-second clips out of the mouth of a candidate, which one are you going to remember regardless of race, gender, sex, height, weight, whatever? Hi, I'm the guy that wants to give you Medicare for all. Hi, I'm the guy that wants to give you Medicare for most Americans. Hi, I'm the guy that thinks Medicare for all is important. Hi, I'm the dude that wants to drop $1,000 a month in your pocket so you can afford crap finally.
Exactly. Well,
and hi, I'm the woman that wants to give you Medicare for all. Like which one of those do you remember?
It's a great point, yeah.
None of them. You remember this guy. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
On top of that, not only that, also the idea that you see a candidate like Andrew Yang running, he also is very running on the idea of trying to bring certain issues to the forefront that people aren't talking about. I mean, want to do a campaign ad saying, hey, look, we all, like, because the one thing is when he's on stage even, he gives off this attitude of like, we all agree on Medicare for all. Why don't we talk about the fact that we're going to lose jobs in the future because the entire labor market is shifting radically underneath us and we have no regulation, we have no plans. Like, you think in all these early states, like,
and drag your family into that. You could talk about the work Evelyn does. You can talk about your kids in the future. Right? You want, I shouldn't say drag them, but here, you know, this is the last thing I'll say. I veer verbose, but this I think sums up my thoughts on this. I enjoy Andrew Yang's campaign because it seems like it's his and it's authentic. And this commercial, this is my phrase that sums up my feelings. This campaign ad does not seem like Andrew Yang wrote it. Okay.
Well, hope not, right?
It doesn't seem like it was his. It doesn't seem like it was his brainchild, that he was involved in the creative process. I doubt if Andrew Yang were more involved in the production of that commercial, it would have turned out this way. It just does not seem Yang. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it'll be very fascinating to see for Yang the returns on these early ad pushes in early states. Like I said, there was that recent one poll by Emerson in Iowa. By and large, Yang struggled in Iowa as well as some other early states. So it'll be really fascinating to see if this helps him put him over the limit. And again, we'll let you know if we hear any more about just any more stuff about the other ads, where are they running them, are they going to be in TV, stuff like that. For right now, though, it is kind of wait and see. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe this really will play in Iowa. We're not from Iowa. To be frank, I don't know a bunch of people from Iowa. Maybe this is the message they want to hear in Iowa, that my Medicare for All is unique and different in this way. I just feel like I said, I feel like Yang...
You didn't even say that.
Yeah, like I said, I think Yang needed a little bit more of this is what I'm focused on. This is what makes me unique. This is why my vision is important and my candidacy should be taken seriously. I didn't quite get that in this first ad. We'll see what's coming in the future, but that's what we got for right now.
I'll tell you right now, that's a $5,000 to $10,000 commercial that was made, and you got to ask yourself if it was worth it. That's
well,
really
we'll find out.
Production value.
You only have to ask. The numbers will tell us. So we'll know in a few months. Really,
Okay.
in a month. We will know because realistically, guys, we were talking about this. Put a little bit in context for you. Yang needs to get up to polling at closer to 5% on average by, I don't know, early part of December to make it to the next debate. This ad push is that push to get there. So we'll find out if he makes it to the next debate. Hey, he did something right. If he didn't, maybe they need to rethink about some things. But that's the first one. It's way too early to tell. It's the first earliest ad that came out. That's what we think. Anything else, Carton?
No. Do you want to end us, bro?
No, I
want to
can't.
do it? You don't want to do it?
I just no. Now I've thought about it too much. It's too much of a thing.
Now you thought about it. Shoot, it's too much of a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Do you think this was an effective ad? Do you think it pulled on heartstrings in a way that maybe we're missing? We're definitely open to alternate interpretations of this. So please comment below. Let us know what you guys think. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe or to like this video, please make sure you like it and hang out with us tomorrow night on Twitch. We do our live call-ins where we answer voicemails and hopefully get our live call-in line figured out again. You can call us at 1-833-PSP-RADIO, or just make sure that if you want to contribute to the channel that you check out the PayPal link in the description. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you guys in the next video.